Let's do the thing. Let's turn on the screens. Wrong screens. Let's turn on the right screen. And the right camera. Hi. And the... Yes, kind of. Infinite loop. Put that over there. So much stuff. Zoom.app would like to do things to your... Yeah, I already did that. Okay. Welcome to the show. I'm Tom, your very disorganized screen manager. And welcome to You Can't Do That on Salesforce. Let's pick up where we left off during our last episode. Not rock, paper, scissors. Uno. Don't save that. Man, every screen that I don't need up is up today. I should probably plan these things a little bit better. That's okay. Here we are. It's Uno time. And what did we do last week? Well, last week we got into the reactive, flow, and LWC stuff. So much that I did it on the show and then did another recording after the show. And those that didn't see that, let's get caught up on where we are real quick and figure out where we're going from here. Sorry about the weird scratching noise. We have some folks doing home repair stuff for us today. Insulation. They're walking around on the roof and blowing insulation through the roof, which sounded dangerous at first, but I understand now. They're pulling the vents off and then blowing it in. So I feel much better now. Okay, where were we? We were looking at play turn screen flow. This was the subject of our extra clip from last week. And I'm not going to go through all of that because that would just be like redoing what we already talked about. But suffice to say, this is the page or the screen in the flow where the player picks what card to play. And if we preview this or debug this, and hopefully I still have an active record here. Nope. Stop cheating. Tom, stop cheating on your own game. Let's find a game and let's find a turn. Here we go. Nope, not running that again. I don't know why there isn't some UI that would let you kind of restart fresh, but I digress. Okay, what's going on? We've got Lightning Web Components and Flow talking to each other, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. I pick a card, do some updates. This field down here, you guys can't see it. This happened on the show earlier today, or this happened on my recording last week. Let's go like this. Now you can see it. Not that it's very interesting. I mean, I pick one of these, the selected game card ID updates. That's not really useful to show the user, of course, but it's happening. And it's happening because then we can pass it down to our custom navigation here and let it, tell the user exactly what they're about to do. Okay. Hope we're good. Okay, so this component, this LWC, Uno hand, has a bunch of Uno cards, and they talk to each other. And then Uno hand talks up to the flow, and then tells its flow what its selected game card is, and then the flow can pass that over to our navigation. So that's, and then our navigation uses some of the other flow events to move forward and backwards. I think, in fact, if I click on this, nope, that didn't do what I thought it was going to do. Well, actually, it did probably exactly what I thought it was going to do. It played the turn, and let's see if it finished this turn. This turn is done, and the game has another turn. Look at that, and it's Uno 1's turn. Okay, cool. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But for now, you know what? Maybe if I make this a little smaller. I know you guys see my giant head. Make my giant head a little less giant. But for now, let's go back and just recap. Not our components. We have a little bit more work to do on the components, I think. I'd like to take the next step of telling the user exactly what they can play. So I thought that would be kind of handy. Oh, see, that plays over. I can stop cheating. I'm going to actually need this next play, or this next turn. Let's grab this and fire it back up. Debug. Boop. Here we go. Okay, it's the other player's hand now, so we got different cards that we're looking at. What I would like to do is, frankly, tidy this up a little bit. Make these cards look a little more Uno-like. I don't know if we'll go so far as to, like, I'll put a drop shadow on them and a border. It'll look sweet. But if your top card is a red 2, what can you play? You can play the red 9, the red draw 2, the red 3, the 2, and I think that's it. So it'd be kind of cool if we could gray out the cards that you can't play and take that as the next step. And then if we get time, we have one step further we could go, which is you ain't got nothing to play. Your turn is over. Whether we want to, I think we have to tell the user that, right? It would kind of stink if the game just was like, no turn for you. But that's what play no card is about here. So we should actually get rid of this select a card to play. We're going to get rid of this dumb thing down here too. But yeah, so I think maybe a little UI tidying, maybe a little, whatchamacallit, a little bit of logic to show or not show. And I think the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to update my Uno hand to accept top card as a input parameter. So it'll pass it in, and then it can actually pass it down to all of the Uno cards. And that way it can tell it, hey, this is the top card. Are you, and then let it have the logic in it that says, are you, decide if you're eligible to be played and render yourself accordingly. And then we can pass that. How would we pass that back? I think what we could do, so this would be interesting. So this is not flow to LWC. This is LWC to LWC. Each of those cards could report back if they're playable, right? So I'm going to pass that logic down. I should pass it down anyway because they need to render. They need to make decisions about rendering. And if the answer is yes, render, then pass something back that says there's a playable card. Or this is a playable card. And if it comes back and says, no, I shouldn't render, I'm not playable, then pass that back up too. And if the number of playable cards is greater than 0, they can play. The question is, do we want to autoplay for them? We could do that too. That'll be some extra sauce maybe. So one step at a time, let's get to the code. And let's get to the stream. Krusty Crap says, is Apex programming just a shittier version of Java? It is, yeah. There's a whole lot of Java missing from Apex for sure. Like, I came from the .NET world like 100 years ago, and I don't even know what .NET's like anymore. But I recall .NET having like a .web and a database and a couple of other namespaces in it with stuff you could do. And that's about all Apex has, right? So it can, it's got a querying language. It's got a data manipulation, create, read, update, delete. It's got some front end UI stuff, which isn't really, we're off the Java path at that point, but and it could do web call outs and things like that. But it really is a very stripped down. I wouldn't say it's crappy, but it's certainly like you can't put a Java app on Salesforce natively. It doesn't have, because it's a multi-tenant environment. Everybody's sharing resources, so you can't have like long running processes and stuff like that. There's other ways to do them, but so yeah, if you're apples to apples, or I should say like street fight, Java versus Apex. Java's going to give you a whole lot more that you can do, but for the purpose of working on Salesforce, Apex seems to handle just about everything that it needs to. There's also this thing called Salesforce Functions, which lets you. That's all good, man. I love this platform, but I'm not crazy, and won't. I'm not gonna. There's no need to get in a shouting match over anything. Everybody needs their tools to do what they need to do. This feature called Salesforce Functions. That's a lot like AWS Lambda or serverless or Heroku worker processes. I think, again, I don't use it a lot, but you can actually deploy tightly integrated Salesforce code in any language that you want. Salesforce charges for it. They charge a little bit of a premium, but it does tightly couple, to the platform. A little easier to stand up and configure, deal with security and authentication and all that stuff versus some of the others where it's certainly not impossible. You just have to roll a little bit more of your own. So if you are looking to do Java and Salesforce integration, you can do that, for sure. There's a lot of libraries out there, and maybe Salesforce Functions could be something worth looking into. But happy to answer the questions, Krusty Krab. Even if use whatever colorful language you want, it's okay. Nobody's gonna, this is not a kid show. All right, where were we? We were building stuff. Let's look at. We need to pass top card down to. Thoughts on Salesforce certs, App Builder. Yeah. So it's been a minute since I've done a lot of the certs. I have a lot of them, but that doesn't mean I remember what they. I think I got my dev cert like 12 years ago or something like that. It's been a long time. I did do App Builder 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought it was fair. And I say that because it was. I thought it was a good combination of admin meets developer. So it wasn't any kind of hardcore coding. I believe it was a lot of, app building by configuration, maybe some lightweight knowledge that, hey, there's this thing called Apex and you can do stuff with it, or hey, there's this thing called LWC and you can do stuff with it. I honestly don't know if they've updated it since. That would be the Aura components back in the day. But yeah, I thought it was a fair. I had already done my dev one and my admin by that time, so it wasn't too. It was pretty straightforward with some prior knowledge, but I do think you need some decent platform knowledge to do the app builder, and you might want to do admin and or dev first, because I think I tell people if you can pass the dev, I'm pretty sure you can pass the app builder. If you can pass dev and admin, you're gonna be fine. But that's me working off of 4-year-old information. I heard through the grapevine that the admin test has gotten more challenging, which makes sense because I don't think they updated it in many years. And when if they're doing an update, or if they have done that update, there's a whole lot more platform to cover. So I could understand why it would be more challenging today. But yeah, App Builder, I think, like I said, I think it's fair. It demands kind of a decent breadth of the platform and how to put, things like this together. Probably not as in depth as the stuff we're covering here, but I think if you know that, you can do pages, you can do dynamic pages, you can do security, you can do flow, you can do, you can do LWC, you can do Apex. I think that's kind of the breadth that it covers. In fact, if we just see App Builder cert, let me see if anything kind of comes up that shakes some cobwebs out for me. Yeah, absolutely, man. Happy to answer. Let's see, what are the sections on this? Okay, so yeah, here you go. Fundamentals. Yeah. Oh yeah, they talk about App Exchange a little bit. Not that you need to know the whole like catalog, but just that it exists. And they'll probably ask you questions like, customer wants to do this, that, and the other. What would you do? And if one of the options is research the App Exchange for a possible option, that's probably one of the answers. Data model, certainly, it's sort of expected. You got to know how to, create objects, create relationships between them. Business logic, process automation. So, yeah, everything from how can you use a data model to do to achieve business process needs, and then what else is available to you. Flow. I'm gonna guess they're still talking about workflow and process builder on the app builder because it takes a minute to get the apps or the certs updated. UI, we'll talk about customizations, standard stuff. I meant, don't it is important to know how the custom buttons, links, actions, all those work because that is, that's app building by Salesforce's definition. It's not full custom stuff. Process builder is definitely getting phased out. I don't know how. I haven't seen the deadline for that. Process builder retirement. Yeah, so you can't build any more new ones now. That's right. So that's what happened in summer 23. And they stopped workflow rules in winter, and then I don't know if there's a date. I don't know if they have a hard and fast date for shutting that stuff off. They do have some migration features, and this is a decent like kind of breakdown of what used to be and what needs to be. But yeah, and honestly, thank goodness because their flows are definitely way better. Not only in their power, their performance, and just the structure that you can bring to them. But yeah, it's a bummer. I did my developer 2 certification not too long ago. I've been developing on the platform for 1,000 years, but I only recently got that one, and it's actually a lot of Visual Force and Apex. Apex is fine. Apex stays current, but it was testing on Visual Force, and like nobody builds anything new with Visual Force. So the certs take a minute to be updated. So you're probably going to be tested on stuff that's not as relevant anymore. So hope that helps. Ask away. Happy to answer questions as best as I can. And if I don't know, then I'll tell you. I don't want to BS anybody. Okay, let's look at our flow because we need this top card to get down to our hand so that we can do stuff with it. So I'm getting the top card here, and so I've got that. So that's not too tough to update. But I need to update my parameters for my, let's see, why is this split? I don't really need that. Oh, because I was doing source control stuff like a good boy. So we need our Uno hand to accept the top card. So we're going to pass that down through. And we can probably just copy this one because it's a game. Top card is a game card, just like the selected game card. So let's pass that down. Let's see, top card in this card. Discard pile. Okay. Good. So we got that. Let's deploy that. Uh-oh. Oh, top card doesn't. We gotta put it on our component. So last week, I was having this mental debate with myself about whether the getters and setters are actually needed. It's probably best practice, but I was wondering if I could just get away with top card here. And to be fair, it's only going to be read only. Like I'm not going to manipulate that data at all. But oh, is that rain? Oh boy, poor guys are on the roof in the rain. I want to see if I don't have to create getters and setters and can still get the top card through this, just through decorating API property. Okay, it's happy so far. Let's refresh our flow. All right, we got our top card. Let's go here. We should have an input parameter. Top card and discard pile. There you go. So get top card. That's what we're going to pass in. We're going to pass in the object because we can, because that's awesome. And we'll save this. So now we should have our top card. Now, the thing with the thing with top card is this is really get top. I'm gonna name this properly. This is get top game card, right? So get top game card, because again, our data model. I really should draw a picture of this. Maybe we should take a minute and do that actually. Our data model says we've got a game. You know what? Let's just draw it. Let's do it. Where can I draw it? What tool have I got? We'll just use a Google Doc. I don't think I have a Lucid account. Can I get a Lucid account? Let's see. Oops. Lucid chart. I don't know. Is it free? I don't know. I think Lucid is for big kids now. Oh, you get 3 documents. Okay. Let's just go to Google. We'll just open up a Google Doc and draw a really bad example of our data model here. Let's see. Uno data model. I'll find a smarter way to do this. There's got to be some kind of UML thing in like Markdown that you could do with like a GitHub README file. I don't know. In the meantime, drawing new. Okay, so recap our data model. We've got this object called game. It represents a game of Uno. I would like to center that. Cool. Great. There's our game, and then we have over here we have cards, right? So the cards are it's like a catalog, right? It's a dictionary of all the cards that could exist in a game. There's exactly 108 of these records. There will never be any more of them. I guess hypothetically they could be custom metadata or something like that. That might be worth looking into, and then just smashing all the fields onto the game card. Anyway, we have this thing called game card, right? And that is a junction between the game and the card. So, and we have more stuff. We'll throw a few more things in here. Where's the arrow? Okay. Go. What am I doing? Nope, don't do that. Okay, back here. There's a few other things. Let's see. We've got a turn. Right, we track the turns that are played in the game, and that relates to the game. And then we also have a player. And there's one or more players in a game. This player-game relationship is pretty common in the other stuff that I've built, like rock, paper, scissors, and Monopoly and whatnot. In fact, the turn also, I mean, rock, paper, scissors is a turn of 1 or 2, I guess. But in this case, so this is really rough. Now, there's more relationships here, but bringing it all back, this is where the stuff happens, right? So between game and card, game card, we create, every time we start a game, create 108 game cards based on the card records, but they look back to the card record itself to say, well, what am I? Again, probably maybe a better design for this would be to make these custom metadata, because they could deploy and stuff like that. There's only 108 of them. Maybe we don't need a custom object for that. We don't really care about security at this level. We do care about security at the game card level, which is why we've got one other thing called a, how am I going to put this in here? We've got this thing called a pile. which is basically a collection of game cards. Oops. We use the pile because we can set security here on the pile. So this becomes the master and a master detail with the game card. So whatever security we apply to the pile, the game cards oblige. So we can use pile as the draw pile, the discard pile, the hand of a player. And in the case of hand of a player, we don't want players seeing each other's hands, so we drive security on the pile. At least we will. I don't think we've done any of that yet in the app, but there you go. I'll try to keep this open because I talk a lot about this. There's, like I said, there's more relationships here. I think there's a redundant relationship between the turn and the game. There's definitely a relationship between the player and the pile. There's a relationship between the pile and the game. There's two piles for the game. There's the draw and the discard. There's one pile for the player, which is their hand. So those are all kind of looking back and forth at that. So there we go. Now we're all caught up. And we can go from here. So I say all that because when I query out a game card, right, I'm basically getting the top card from the first game card I'm getting is the top card from the discard pile. That's the card all the players play against. I also, when I do that, I have access to all of the relationships that, or I can navigate the relationships back to the parent card. Where were we? Yep. So I can go from here up to, go from here up to here to get all the information about the card itself. So this is like blue 4 in the context of this game, whereas this is just blue 4. So the card knows what it is, and the game card knows where that card where that card is being used. So we have to look up or look back to the card record from the game card. That's easy to do from here, right? I could just go. Let me see. Let's do an assignment, for example. Just, we're not going to save this, but I'll set some variable, sure, from get game card or get top card. Sorry, so I can navigate through here, right? I want this. Really is what I want the card. So actually what I think I'll do, I wonder if I can get away with this. Let's try it. Let's set card. Let's set top card. All right, we'll create a new variable. And can we get away with this? I don't know if I've ever done this. Game card. No, we can't do that. Okay, that's fine. We're going to do one more query then. Do I still have that variable? I do. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so we're going to get top game card, and then we're going to get top card. I think the more we're going through this, I think I am going to tweak this so that card is actually custom metadata, and then game card just has all the information you need about the card. It was intended to not have to have a little bit of relationship in there, but honestly, we have to create 108 records for game cards every single game, so we're not really saving ourselves anything. We could just stamp all the data on there. Okay, let's get our card. For now, we'll just keep cruising here where let's see, the ID equals, we'll get the top game cards, card. There we go. Just the first record, get me all the fields. Got that, save that. Okay, so I got top game card, I got top card. That's fine. I want to pass both of these into the... see, again, this is probably another reason for maybe refactoring this. I have to pass these two parameters around all the time. The top, because I can't pass in game card with its related card. I could do that if I was querying through Apex and brought it back, but we haven't written any code. Well, the only code we've written are for invocables at this point, so we haven't written any other code, so we're not gonna try to avoid that. But I'm gonna need, this is top game card. Let's see, is it gonna let me change my settings here? And then game cards is really the player, the player's game cards. I probably should have named that a little bit better. But over here, top card is now, well, let's see. Top card can still be a, yeah, we're going to have to change that up. Let's see. Is it going to let me get away with this? We'll see. I'm not getting rid of any variables, but I'm definitely changing their types. You can't change the type of top card, the output property. Oh, can we just, well, wait a second. We can change these, right? We can make these input only. Maybe we can get away with, let's try that. Maybe it won't yell at me if I say, this is input only, this is input only, this is input only. What are the other options for the... Oh, what was that called? Role. Input only or output only? So our selected game card and our selected card are output only. Still think it's going to give me a hard time, but we'll see. Bleh, it's used in the flow. Okay, this is the only bummer about this. If you're building along the way, like you kind of have to. I'm gonna have to strip out the use of these in my Uno game, and then bring them back in. So I think Uno turn footer is probably fine. No, that's footer, but I'm sorry, I'm passing it here. So we're gonna get rid of this completely. We don't need it anymore. It's here that this is giving me a little bit of trouble. I think if I just pull these out, save that. Yep. So then, will you let me save now? Might still be a few things that are in use. Let's see. Oh, is it? Well, no, we should only have one. I think we only have one version of our flow. Let's double check that. Yep. Okay, only one version. And what are you not happy about? Top card, because it's used in the flow. Game cards, top card. How many of these is it complaining about? Is it 2 each? 3. Top, game. Oh, top, game, top. All right, so where are we? Where are we doing top card? Whoop, back up here. Here. That one should be okay. Oh, this one, okay. Yep, we gotta take the hand out, I think, and then we'll take the top card out. We took our parameters out of there. Let's see if that makes it happy. gosh. Hopefully this gets a little better in the future. Okay, we're good now. So we're good now, but if I adding a property is fine. I probably, once this state got more stable, I probably wouldn't be changing these very much, but if for some reason I had to change one, then that'd be kind of, kind of rough. I'm going to change game cards to player cards while we're here, right? It's really player game cards. Top game card, top card, select a game card, select a card. Okay. So we're going to change game cards to, let's see, can we rename this everywhere? Did we rename it everywhere? Player game cards. I think we have to check our our HTML. I think is passing this. Excuse me. Ooh, okay. We are passing. Oh, we're looping. Sorry, we're looping player game cards here. Do we have them? Let's call this player game card. This really should be player. Well, we'll just call it game card because it's not always a player game card at that level. Once we get down to the Uno card. All right, what did we break here? Actually, don't even do that yet. I want to search this for game card. That's selected. Yeah, we don't have. Oh wait, selected. No, that's coming back. Okay. Okay, so we should hopefully be good with our changes there. Okay, now we gotta stand everything back up. Our properties. Okay, so now Uno hand is taking. This is get player hand. Oops, we have the same title here. Top card and discard. Top game cards card. Yeah. Definitely want to refactor this. I don't know. It's just getting, now it's getting kind of silly. If we refactored this, we'd need half as many parameters getting thrown around here, but that's okay. All right, refresh again. Back here. We are passing get player hand. Top game card. Get top card. Wait, what? Oh, wait, get top. Sorry. Get top. Nope. I can't click. Get. Stop it. Get top game card. Boom. Get top card. Boom. Okay. Got those. And then selected action comes back. Selected card equals Uno hand, selected card. And selected game card equals Uno hand, selected game card. There we go. And we're done, I think. Let's save and check that. That was a fair amount of changes in a short amount of time. Oh, need our turn again. Okay, still alive. Back to normal. Let's see. Okay, so all right, we haven't done anything with it, but we now have our hand has the top game card and the top card. Right. And now we need to pass those down to our cards. So let's go to our card. we're not, this is not the property we care about right now, but we do use this same LWC for the top card as well. That's why we can pass it a game card and have it do stuff. But down here is what we care about. So let's see, game card. Top game card and top card. Okay, and then we'll go to our excuse me. So that's our game card. We're going to pass it our top game card, which on our hand is top game card. And then our top card is top card. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so now we're passing those down to the card, and we're going to tell the card what to do with that information. And let's create a couple properties in anticipation here. Is playable for right now? Yes. Let's get is player hand, and let's return this dot top game card and where are you? And this dot top card. If we don't have those, then it's not a player's hand, and it's the card that we're displaying at the top of the page. So if is playable, is playable is what we're going to go do where we want to do our kind of calculation, right? So basically, if this, the other thing we do here is we get the card. So we queried for it in our flow, but here we are just going and getting the card because we're passing in one or more of of them. Again, probably another good reason for just have the game cards have all the information they need and not have the relationship back to the card. So keeps getting better, folks. It's gonna for an ounce of data work, we can get pounds of complexity saving here. But in the meantime, we have to go get it. So we have the wired up card. I think that's probably what I'll do on tonight's show, if you will. We'll make that change and refactor this down to get rid of that card, turn it into metadata, and then we just have our game card object. But for now, we're getting that back. We're getting our card related to our game card. That's this here. And so if it's playable, we also need, well, our is playable needs that, right? So we need, let's see, if this dot card and this dot top card, or I should say if this dot card and this dot is player hand, Otherwise, it's, otherwise it's not playable, I think. Except for the case where we're just using it to display the card. So if this dot card, so we're going to get that back, and then if it is our player's hand, it means we have a top game card and a top card. And then we're going to do some checking. So if this dot card dot, let's see, how do we get that back? The data for this is a little different, if I recall. Yep, card.fields dot something. All right, if this dot card dot color equals, I think we're getting the data in the same format, this dot top card okay, if those are the same, I'll clean up this this logic. Just gonna kind of do them one at a time. So if they match in color or they match in value, then yes. If it is, let's see, matching color would answer skips and reverses and draw twos. If the action is, wait, is a draw four? I forget. Is our draw fours color coded? Draw fours are not color coded. So if the color is black, then, and I think we have those set. Let's look at all of our cards. Wild, do we have draw fours in here? Oh, we don't have these. Okay, hold on. There we go. Let's change all these colors to black. There we go. Okay. So I guess there is a benefit of having the relationship, because we could, now we can just go look it up, but as opposed to we'd have to stamp that out to all of our records. Again, once this data gets solid, it doesn't really matter. And I think the other thing I would, I probably should start a list of things to think about refactoring. So we're not doing this stuff next week because we already did that. So let's say refactor question marks. Let's say card object, card custom metadata question mark. Should we refactor? Let's see, card object, merge action and value fields, because that's a little bit, we could potentially do that. We might not need this field, because if you either have an action or you have a value, but we could probably get away with, if we wanted to find out if you had an action or a value, like is your value numeric or not, could do something like that. In the meantime, though, we'll leave that as is. Okay, so we are back over here on our card. We're deciding if the card we have is playable. So if we have our card that represents us and we're looking at a player's hand, to look at a player's hand means a top card and a top game card and a top card have been provided specifically. If they haven't been provided, then it's not a player's hand. And if the card's color matches the color of the top card, or if the card's value matches the value of the top card, And also if the top card's color is, oh wait, no, if the card's color is black, then return true. Otherwise, we'll return false. I'm sure there's more conditions there. Because when I do a wild card or a draw 4, I have to pick a new color. So that's something that we track. That's something that we track on the game. Because when we get to this step, if a wild card was played, let's think about this. If a wild card was played, the top card is black, right? But somebody had to say the new color is blue. And then likewise, if the draw 4, same deal, right? So we need to be able to say what is the new color. That comes from, I think that's on our game. Top card color, right? So we are tracking that, I think. I have to see if that is, are we actually writing that when we create new turn? We update the game card, create a new turn. Let's see about create new turn. Create new turn. I don't think we do. Nope, that's just our turn. So that's something that we don't have in place yet. And that kind of has to happen. It has to happen at the start of a I'm sorry, Krusty Krab. I don't know if you're still here. I didn't see your other notes. Do I abuse Salesforce in your spare time like that? Yes, that's exactly what this show is for. Completely nonsensical stuff that probably doesn't belong on the Salesforce platform. But hey, let's build it. The nice thing about games is all the requirements are already laid out. Games are the easiest customers. Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't see also didn't see your note about the card and game card relationship. I hope. I'm not saying it's the best. I think it needs to change, but I hope it makes sense now. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, so we don't have this getting populated, I don't think. Top card color. Although, if we look at our top card color is indeed red here, so maybe it is. Is it getting populated? We update our turn. Create a new turn. Somewhere magic is happening. I'll have to find it, but we definitely need. So let's think about this. I'm here. Let's bring up our. I'm here, and I say, well, I don't have a wild card, so I guess it's not as relevant. But here I'm gonna pick 5. Easy mode, right? Just becomes the top card color is blue. No big deal. If I had a wild card here, I would play it. It would tell me that I'm playing it. I think we also need to ask the player what color do they want the next one to be. And then somehow we have to represent that here. Maybe it just says wild, but it has the color, behind it of what was chosen. So that's another step we have to kind of build in. And then I think in that case, we're basically telling it at the end of the turn. The exception would be, what if you draw a wild card at the start of the game? Because we do all of our initial setup of the first turn in our. Actually, we do that in create game, I think. So let's see. Maybe that's where it's being set. Create our game cards, create our hands, create our players. Get drop card, update top game card, update game with top card. Yeah, here. So top card color. So we are setting that. So it is possible if the first turn in a game could be playing against a wild card, black wild, right? And then they have to pick. So that's a little, whereas our turn actually, will that matter? Maybe that won't matter. Now we will have to have an exception for that, because normally, our turn works to say, I'm playing a wild card. Well, actually, maybe that does. No, we'll just bake it in, because you're still going to play against that first card. You just have a whole lot more options to play against. So that might not be as big of a deal. Draw 4 is the same. So I think we're okay there. But we do need to populate top card and top card color. And I don't think we're doing that at the end of our turns right now. No, I think we do need to do that here, because I don't think create new turn does that. We just get our game, we do our kind of crazy pick logic. We don't do anything with the game here. So I think we need to do that here, or maybe even above that. So we're going to update game top card fields. So let's do this as conditions, I think. Did we get the game? Actually, do we have our? Yeah, no, we don't get the game. That's fine. We'll do it. We'll update based on a record, not based on an object. I'm sorry, based on an ID. So update game top card fields. There we go. Use IDs. This is going to be a game. Oh wait, conditions. Sorry. This is a game whose ID equals. Do we have a game? We have a turn. Get turn dot game. Okay. We're going to set the top card equal to the the Uno hand selected game card. Oh wait, .id. Yeah. There we go. And the top card color to the Uno hand selected card color. Okay, so that should update those two fields. When we have those, we're gonna need to query that out, I think, and we're gonna need to pass it. We're gonna need to pass it along with the whatchamacallit, with the other stuff that we passed in. Let's see. Okay. Internet distractions. So we've got, okay, so that's populated now. Back to our logic over here. We're going to need to pass in top color, basically, into the hand and down into the top color is just a string. Varies for wild and draw 4. Probably could put that in like some help text, right? Can you do help text on these? You must be able to. Placeholder. Description. Okay. Let's do a description there. Varies for wild and draw 4. Okay, we're going to pass that in. We have that on our hand, so we need to put that here. And then we want to put top color here, so in our hand loop, we're going to pass that as well. Okay, so we got our property for the flow to pass it in. We've got our property that we're in our hand. We're passing that to our card, and then our card can evaluate with that. So we actually might not. Let's see. If we have the color, we do need. If we have the color's coming in as its own property. So that will always be accurate as of the last card that was played. And in the case of a wild or a draw 4, somebody's saying what color to play next. So that's going to take care of that. Now I need to respond to that. So if top color, right, it's not really about the card anymore. We do still care about so again, this could be another case where even instead of having top card, right, I like having top card because it has these. I like having top card if it had these values on it. And right now, because we have to pass into that card thing, yet again, a good reason not to, not to have this extra relationship here. It'd make it a lot easier to just pass that. I could pass top, basically pass. Okay, so here's the next question, right? Do we really need top card? I think the answer is yes. You need it represented in the deck, but you don't need it. Maybe you don't need it represented on the game. Or I'm sorry, you don't need the relationship on the game. You just want the value, right? I want the value and the color on the game. So maybe that's a refactor option for us too. So game object, should we have, what do we say? Versus, let's see, top card lookup versus top card color, value, action. And then again, I think value gets, or action gets consolidated with value and action move into one field. You just call them all value. Color stays as its own field. And yeah. Signs are pointing to some simplification that we can do here. It's just going to be, honestly, undoing some of this stuff will be good in the long run, but will take a little bit of work to get there. But that's how it goes. We can do a refactoring episode. All right, let me save that before I lose that stuff. So I think now we have our top color. Okay, so let's go back to our flow. I think we have it, yeah, we have this running somewhere. All right, so this is our, no, that's our game flow. New play turn. Here, let's refresh. Let's grab a chair. Okay. Okie dokie. Move this a little bit. There we go. Okay, we're going to pass in here to our hand. Handy. We're not getting our game. We have to get our game. Oh, wait, we can get it from the turn, right? We got get turn, game, top, card, color. There we go. And then I think we're good there. So we're passing that in over here. So in our card, if this dot top color equals black, then it's playable. Anything's playable, right? This is like this is really like the scenario is brand new game. And wild or draw 4 are on top. That's probably the only time that'll ever happen because we're actually going to choose the color that we want it to be later. So otherwise, if top color this is match on color. Oh wait, did I do that? I think I did that backwards. If card, yeah, we still need all this. If this, we need this over here. Card.fields.doot. So if they match in color or they match in value, running the blender. Make it a margarita. Not really. Okay, so we match in color. For brand new game, if it's black, pick a color. Otherwise, do we match on color? Do we match on value? If one of those is true, then we're good. Now, this is if it is the player's hand. If it's not the player's hand, right, it's definitely not playable. And if we don't match any of these criteria, it's not playable, I think. I don't know if this is how this is going to handle the top of the discard pile because we're using the same component for that. Okay. Well, let's see. So, all right, is playable, like big deal. Let's just render something right now, kind of ugly on the card that would tell us if it's playable or not. There. Super duper. At least we can kind of get an idea if this is kind of working. Okay. Whoops. May have wanted that. That's new game. I think we're okay there. New turn. I think we're okay. Play turn. This is what we want. Let's debug this. Hopefully it recognizes the LWC change. Need my turn. Okay. All right. So what happened? We have it's failing correctly. I think it is displaying kind of a mess. Did I mess up some markup here? Card fields value, card fields action. Let's see. I think this is right. It is a 2. I'm sorry, it is red, but we don't have any logic in here that says whether or not it should actually be displayed. And yet here we are, it's not displaying things. So I'm guessing there's errors on the ones that are unhappy right now. So let's see what's going on in our card logic here. So that's probably going to fire a few times for each card, maybe even. So we do have a card. All right. Oh boy, I wish I was smarter about debugging because I just can't ever seem to get is like what. All right, if it's this crazy proxy object thing, like how do you just debug it? You know, like there's no way to debug. I'm just doing it wrong, I think. So LWC debug. When I run into a proxy during debugging, I do a breakpoint on the corresponding line and run the code in the console of the browser's dev tools. Really? Like every time? Ugh. I literally just do like I think it's cool in the console, right? Like is player no? What's going on? Oh, wait. No. Well, just run into this then. Should just be true, right? Okay, great. Here, this is what I usually do. JSON.stringify. This dot is player hand. Okay, wait. What do we? Okay. I was just checking for the existence of these. What is it passing back at me? Okay, I'm doing it wrong. So let's see. I thought this would just test for are they undefined or not. Instead, I'm getting back the actual. I'm getting the hand back, or the top card, I think, back. All right, so we'll just do I guess just do a null check on those, right? Nope. Okay. That probably had something to do with it, but let's see here. Okay, so is player hand? Yes. The top color is red. Oh, no, this is our top. Wait a minute. But this, so wait. Is player hand is true, but I think this is this is our top card, I think. Let's hit each of these. Value is yellow. Value is 0. Why is our top card coming back as nothing? Okay, so top card doesn't have the dot fields on it because it's being okay, right, because it's being passed in. So it's interesting when you pass in when you pass in an object, you get this format. But when you wire an object or a record, I'm sorry, when you pass in a record, you get this structure that we see in the debug. You can't really see that very well, though, can you? That's a little better. But when you wire a record like we are doing with card, then you're going to get the fields dot color dot value. So there's a little difference there, and I think that's why it's flaking out here on some of these. So let's fix that. I don't know if that's going to fix everything, but so top card is literally just this. Doing all this would also save me from having to do the wire, right? And by doing all this, I mean stamping values onto the game cards and using metadata for the card instead of an object. Okay, so we pushed that. Now let's refresh this. So is player hand. Top color undefined. I don't remember seeing that. Red. Top color undefined. Why is that? So we don't have our top card. Undefined. Okay. Okay, I think what we just had was the we didn't pass in top card or top color. So that means it's the top. It means it's the top card in our. It's on the discard pile. All right, so this is red and we're black, so that's not going to pass. This color is yellow and the top color is red, so that's not going to pass. The value is 0 and the value is 2, so that's not going to pass. So that card is not valid. Next one. Blue, red. 5, 2. This is going to be a little bit painstaking, but let's keep going. Red, red, ding, ding, ding. Green, red, nope. No, this is an action, right? Null 2, so nope. Green, red, 3, 2. Red, red, yes. Blue, red, no. 2, 2, yes. Red, red, yes. I think we're done. Okay, so we rendered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that how many we have in player 2's hand right now? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just cross-check these. Red 9, yellow 0, blue 5, green skip, green 3, red 3, blue 2, draw 2, red draw 2. Okay, so the problem was that the first thing didn't have a. I think the first thing that was being rendered, because what is the top card right now? Oops. Go to the game. The top card is red 2. So we should expect red 2 at the top. Let's run this again and observe what's going on with that red 2. So this, I think, is it's red 2. So this is red 2. Top color is undefined. I think that's throwing us off right now. Because we're not passing it to that. We could, but there's... It's not playable, but we want to render it. I think that's where this is getting a little funky. So we don't want to play it. So is playable is not really the question that we're asking. We don't need to ask that question for the top card. And the way to check for it being the top card is, does it have, it's not the player's hand. So I think here we just need to say, if is player hand is false, just return true. Let's just short circuit it so it renders as we need it to. For now, we still have other work to do. If it's, if it's not playable, I think we're just going to put like an opacity on it. And we don't want that opacity on the top, but we also don't want to be able to click it. So that could also be something that we have to adjust. I think we can do that with a pointer, and then also And actually maybe just having, well, just having, by way of having his player card. Do I want to stand up? No, I'm going to keep sitting for a little bit. His player card can tell us if it's not the player card, then it's a top card. So, all right, we've got what we need. I just wasn't thinking about it right. So let's see if this dot is player hand. We're just going to return true for now because this is the top card scenario. Then we shouldn't get into any other of the conditions below that. Okay, let's try that again. So that's interesting. Is player hand... Wait a minute. I want to start this over. Because I think our red 2 should be coming up first. Can I check that? Red... Oh, red 9. All right, so this is... Right? Our red 2 is the top card right now. Oh, wait. Is it? Oh, good. Oh, dear. Okay. Let's... I guess we don't need to test this stuff as much anymore. Okay, we got through all that, but we still... Yep, so our game's top card is red 2, and we're still not getting that. Okay, so let's go here. Oops. Sorry, just checking in on something over there. Okay, so let's dip into here because this is our red 9. This is not our not our top card. Red 2. This is our top card. Boom. So top game card is undefined. Okay, so it's just does not equal undefined. I thought, okay, well, let's change that over. Push source to delete. Okay. Oops. Find our game again. Find our screen again. Okay. This is blue 5. So, oh, still blue 5. This is red 2. So this is our top card. Let's check these. Undefined. Undefined. All right. Should pass through. And it does. Cool. All right. Does the rest of this work? I'm going to not slow this down. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Top card, red 2. Should be displayed, but is of a different beast. Red 9 we can play. Can't play these. Make this a little wider. No, because my face is in the way. Big goofy face. Make the debug details a little narrower. No, you can't. Okay, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's putting the right values in there. And so now we want to render these somehow as, you know, editable or not, or selectable or not selectable. And we'll take the trues and the falses out. And I think we can do a little bit of, let's see, we do a little bit of property setting down here in the CSS. And can I, something, so this is a little bit, let's see. We need to get we need to tell it, I think the easiest thing we can do is do a cursor versus not. Our CSS here is the host style. Well, can I set that? Can I do things with that? Let's see. I've been trying to work with what do you say, tokens or hooks, styling hooks, and I confess I have to refresh my memory on what CSS set property does. And can we just get away with? Can I just set an arbitrary property and value there? Can I just say, you know, can I just say something like cursor equals cursor hand? Let's try that. Definitely the CSS mojo in the context of LWC, not my strongest. Not my strongest. Very much learning as I go. Is that even right? is that CSS property? CSS cursor types? I think hand is one of them. Nope, it's some other name. How do I change the cursor to a hand? Pointer. Thank you. So I hope that if host is the whole component, then I would be cool having the pointer point at the whole component. Let's see. Does that work? They're all going to point right now, if any of them point. Yep. Okay, we're pointing. We're happy. But now we don't want to point if, First of all, let's take this true false stuff out. It's kind of ugly. Oh, we don't have to do that yet. Over here, if I would say if is player hand and is playable, right? Do I need to set it otherwise? Oh, we can set it as, what's the nope? What's the nope option? Not allowed. Yeah, okay. Oops. Wow. Not allowed. Okay, and then also, I think we're gonna, well, we'll do a couple other things here. I think this takes a decimal, right? Opacity? Let's find out. Kind of. We kind of got it. We're making our, let's see. If is player hand and is playable. Player hand should be false, right? I think. Playable. Playable is true, but they're not both true. Okay. Let's render some stuff again. Because maybe I'm just getting confused by my logic here. So, is player hand and is playable. Isn't that kind of weird that this one is grayed out? Where's my logic wrong here? Is player hand and, well, let's say, all right. I don't know. Oh, wait. Because, well, we don't want it to drop. We don't want it to have either of these. So what is that logic? We want all of our, I think we just make a, Right, let's just make another condition. Right, so if this is false, and so if not, let's make it a little nicer here. If not is player hand and not playable. All right, this is the top card condition. And in that case, we're okay with the opacity. We basically want we want kind of half and half, right? We want this. And then, so if they're both false, do one thing. If they're both true, do another thing. And if one of them is true, then do the third thing. Nope. Should stop trusting my, trying to trust my, uh-oh. Oh, no, come on now. Oh, wait. All right, let's see. If is player hand, right, if not is player hand, right, and is playable, right, we say playable, but it's not. We probably need some better properties here to make this make sense. There we go. Okay. So we wanted this to have a, maybe we'll put a different icon on it too, because it doesn't really need one. I can pick 9. I can still pick these other ones, but we got to make it not. So we'll fix that. I can pick these. And okay. Well, we're getting there. So now we just need to tell our logic, our click logic, to just to basically exit, right? So if so if it's the player hand and it is playable, we'll do our stuff here. Dispatch our event and whatnot. Okay. Okay, so that shouldn't do anything. Yep. Okay. Cool. So now we can't pick we can only pick the cards that we can play. We think we have to do some more testing here. I don't have any draw 4s or wilds in here. But we can pick the cards we're allowed to play. Let's get rid of this giant text on here. I don't know why draw 2 is all messed up like that, but I thought it was going to be centered. Anyway, you know, why aren't you centered? All the other ones are centered. Align content center. Oh well. So we can only pick the ones that are highlighted. Yay. And now we need to tell, let's see. We need to tell we need to tell the hand how many cards are playable, right? Because we probably shouldn't even display this other button on our footer or on our navigation if there's nothing to play. Yes, I think. So what would we need to do for that? Well, we need the card to tell the we need the card to tell the hand that it has calculated whether or not it's playable. And then we could ask the hand, when it gets that message from its card, it could step through the cards and determine how many of them are eligible to for play. So to do that, we could. All right. Can't remember how to. Let's see. We need LWC call child method. I think call methods on child components. So try and remember how to do this. We have. Let's see. This is their example video player. The method caller component contains video player and has buttons to call the play and pause methods in video player. So the caller, okay, locates the component. So we would query for all of our cards, and then we would ask to return a value from a JavaScript method. Use the return statement. Yep. So we can do a getter on. I think we could just do a getter on. Where are you? What I don't want to do is I don't want to just call that, because I want to call that, but I want to hang on. Come on. Oh, I want to call is playable, but I don't want to call the same thing that could also, at the end of this is playable. I could tell the card to communicate back to its hand that it has been evaluated. Although at the same time, I'd like my hand to just evaluate all of the cards. I feel like I'm stuck in a loop here. So what could we do? We could. We just don't want... Ultimately, I need the hand to loop through its cards and get this information back. I could do it on... I could tell it to reach in and do this when the after the card is wired, because it should have everything it needs at that point. So maybe we'll do that. So we could say API get is playable, and then that's consistent with here, right? And then we just we dispatch an event. Let's dispatch an event here called card loaded. And I don't think we need to pass anything there. We just need to ping it and say, hey, we're good, we're loaded. You can get some information back from us. So let's do that, and then let's we need a on card loaded event. Okay. So then in this case, we want to query select all of our Uno cards. Okay, and then let's Uno cards dot for each. Let's say let playable cards. Well, actually, let's put a property out here for ourselves. Playable cards equals 0. Let's reset it when we get in here. And then for each, and then I never get the syntax right for a for each. Do I have it in here somewhere? I probably don't. Do I have it somewhere else? Let's just look it up. Right. With the arrow and the stuff. Yeah, here we go. Where were we? Here. For each, right? This is Uno card. If Uno card dot is playable, I think that's it. So it's going to loop through all of them each time a card reports that its card is loaded. which, you know, it's a little bit redundant, but I think that's okay. And then our top card is not part of the hand, so it's not gonna report anything because it doesn't have a card to load. It does have a card to load, but it doesn't have anything listening to its event. Now let's see if we got all that right. Okay. Did we get a bunch of errors? Let's find out. So back to our sources. Let's see if stuff is getting into, well, first let's see if it's getting to, we're dispatching this event, and then in the hand, we're listening for that here. All right, we're dispatching. Stringify. Okay, and now we are listening for that here. Still dispatching, still dispatching, still dispatching. Okay, but not listening here. So, card loaded. Did we not save something? On card loaded, handle card loaded. Are we missing something else up here? I don't think so. Oh, car loaded. Yeah, I'm the. First of all, I can't spell. Second of all, I can't pass the right value. Probably could make a more generic, like, event dispatcher, but that would explain why none of that worked. It's about 4 o'clock. I'll do a quick break here in a minute. Let's see if we can get this working, and then I will reward myself with getting liquid. If this ever saves. Come on now. All right. Not able to parse current results. Well, this is fun. What you doing? I cursed it. I said I wanted to take a break and get a drink, and now it's like, no. We're not. We're just gonna load now. Let's see if maybe it happened to have loaded and just doesn't want to talk to me about it. Okay, yeah, it did. It just isn't. Yaha. Yahoo. Uno hand. Loaded. All right. Is this working? Uno cards. How many we got? We got 8 of them. That makes sense, right? Reset our playable cards. go through our Uno cards. If Uno card is playable, that's a false. That's a false. That's a false. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, maybe they're all... Wait, why are they all false, though? So it's going to keep dispatching. It's a little talkative, but if we go back into hand here, or I'm sorry, if we go back into card and we find our is playable, let's see how far it gets. Oops, we gotta trap that further up. Okay. Okay, so we're in is playable. So this one should be true. It should match on this. Whoa. Come on out of there. Yeah, just continue. Okay. So that one should have been true. Do I have to call these? Well, it got one. Okay, hold on. Let's just let's watch let's see this dot what was that again? Playable cards. Probably more like playable card count. Interesting. Interesting. So well, let's go here again, right? I think we're okay. That's happening. We know that's happening. Nope. Okay. I didn't know if maybe I had to call it as a function. So why? Why does it think that some of the time it doesn't? We're gonna hit all of them. Let's see here. So card's not even loaded here, which is what's up with that? Blue 5 versus red 5. That one should not be playable. So that one drops through. Maybe what we should do is check for what could be happening here is I think we do need card loaded, but it's like cycling, right? So it's because it's cycling, it's a little inefficient. I think we only need to call this on records that are let's see. What if we did a so on our card, what if we just had a is let's say get is card loaded, right? So okay, that'll tell us that the card is loaded. Because we're now what's happening is we're telling the hand like, hey, I'm loaded, but then it's going through everybody and saying who's actually loaded. So I think we could now use this is card loaded in our hand to maybe like clear up the noise a little bit. So if Uno card is card loaded, oops, and is playable, then we'll increment that. Let's try that. I think actually what I want to do is just so I can put a debug line or a breakpoint in here to see if it's entering it. Let's just change that a little bit. Oops. Let's see. Okay, that loaded. And do this. Oops. Yep. Reading some Salesforce news on the side here. Okay. Let's go over here. We probably should just output playable cards somewhere. I'm just gonna render it in the out here somewhere. Put it at the bottom. See if we're getting somewhere. I think that should make it a little bit more efficient. Okay, how did we do? Okay, cool. So we got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Groovy. So I think just having that, because it was cycling, every card has to say, "Hey, I'm loaded," or actually when I'm loaded, it's very possible that the other cards around it may not be loaded at that point. So having that is card loaded or property in there, I think that makes it a little cleaner. So we've got that, and we're gonna take a quick commercial break. I don't know what you call it. I'm gonna go grab a drink and come right back. Stay tuned. Okie dokie. We have reached the last 39 minutes of the show. There's actually nothing special about the last 39 minutes. It's the same as the last 40 minutes, but a little shorter. But I think we're getting here, right? So what have we done today? We have I can't. I'm so excited. I can't remember what we've done. We have told our Lightning Web component about the top card that's being played. We've had a lot of philosophical conversations. I have had a lot of philosophical conversations with myself about future refactoring of this thing. But that'll come later. In the meantime, our hand knows about the top card. Our hand can tell its cards what to do about the top card, i.e., should you be allowed to be played or not. So we can kind of save the user from themselves and not have to put in a ton of error handling. They just can't pick the cards that can't be played. We know how many cards can be played because we're doing some eventing between our cards in our hand. In our case, the answer is 4. And now, if we can maybe finish this out, we can tell the footer that how many cards are playable, and then it can make a decision about its UI with that value about what to say, right? We shouldn't show, if this number is 0, we shouldn't show this button. There's no cards to play. We can change the text on this that says, no cards to play. End turn, no cards to play. Or maybe end turn, play no card. That could be we just need a little format there. So let's do that. Let's tell our hand. So here's another question. Can I do this, right? Playable cards. And then if I put that over here as output only, playable cards. Do I have to, is it just number? Is that the type that I give it? Got to go back to my integer. Okay. Type is integer. It really should be playable cards count, right? Number of playable cards. Okay. And that's going to go up. And then that's going to go back down into the footer. And that's input only here. Hey, MRP97, we're building Uno on Salesforce. Uno the card game, not Uno the pizza shop. Trying to work out the logic for when it's a player's turn, what cards are they allowed to play, and then what does some navigation look like if they have no card to play, or if they have 0 cards that they can play versus more than 0 cards that they can play. And right now we're passing parameters from Lightning Web Component to Flow and from Flow to Lightning Web Component. What tech stack we're using? This is all on the Salesforce platform. So this is their platform-based stuff called Apex and Lightning Web Components. And it's more of a business application platform, but I love to use it for weird stuff because it's just kind of fun to explore and experiment. All right, so we've got playable cards on our footer, and then we need that in here. I guess we could default that to 0 in here too, right? And then let's do that. Just clean up a little bit. Push all that. And I'm going to move. Oops, forgot this. Let's drop that. So we had playable cards here in our hand, and let's put it into our footer as well, just so we can kind of see. Hopefully it shows up. Hopefully it's the same number all the time. Oh, and then we have to update the flow to pass these in and out. So I'm going to close this, go back here. Let's refresh. Okay, so we don't have it available for input, but we should have it available for output. And number of playable cards equals Uno hand playable cards. So that's the whole input-output thing, right? Inputs only show up here, and outputs show up as properties like that. So that should pass that over. Instantaneous Magic Mojo. And let's debug again. See if we got all of our pipes piped. Okay, so we don't... Okay, I bet you I need a... I wonder if I need a getter and a setter on playable cards. Yeah. I wonder... Okay. Oh, wait. We're missing something. We have to tell... Let's see, the hand has to... we have to dispatch that value, right? Our playable cards. And actually, let's do this. Let's say let count equal 0. We'll just do the count here, and then we'll pass count, because it'll actually set our playable cards to that value as well. Forgot, when we push up, we have to use the flow attribute change mojo. We're doing that here, and then we're doing that for the selected. Okay, should be better now. I'm going to close that. Let's refresh this. I don't think it matters. I just don't... You never know. Okay, let's debug this again. Find our turn. There we go. Okay, so that's cool. This is the playable hand or playable cards count for the hand, and then this is the playable cards count passed to the footer. They should be the same. Not terribly exciting, but the flow is doing what it's supposed to by passing that around. So now I can, let's see. Now I will, well, let's get rid of those values kind of floating around here. And then let's look at our footer. And then so we already have a couple of variables for our play card, and we can update those. So if our label, say if this dot playable cards is 0, then return no cards to play. Yeah, I would love to find a a service online somewhere that magically has all the Uno card images available, and so I don't have to download them. But otherwise, maybe we'll just CSS our way through something that kind of looks like an Uno card. Mine are pretty ugly right now. All right, so if playable cards, 0, no cards to play. Honestly, we probably shouldn't even show the button, but let's just kind of get this, get this. That's hypothetically. And oh, wait. Is player card? Let's see. Is card active? Return the selected game card. And say this playable card is greater than 0. And oops, yeah, greater than 0, and this selected game card is not undefined. Should pop that up here too. Let's see. Okay. Oh, are we able to? Can't right click you. Okay. Oh, because I don't have a console open. Yes, the code is on GitHub. Let me find a link and drop it in there. There is the repo, and today's stuff will be posted after the show's over. Yep. So it's about a week old, but I haven't done much since the last push. But we'll probably update it later tonight. I'm gonna get out of here and go exercise and eat some food, and then probably update it. Okay, how did we do here? So let's do a little debug action in our footer, because I don't think we're getting what we want. Here. So refresh this. Oh, wait, no, it's not going to return no cards to play because we have cards to play. So, yeah, it's going to take a second to render, but we do have cards to play. And that is doing its thing. Okay, so to test this for real, we probably need, a hand that can't that can't be played. I just realized something. I think our draw step is out of sync. Because I don't have to draw like every hand, right? If I've got a card to play, I just play it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like basic Uno 101 we've got in our we've been designing with the plan to draw, make people draw a card, but they don't have to. That's not a big deal necessarily. We can just take that out of the turn step. You only really need to draw a card when you're if you don't have a card to play. So that logic might need to move. That might need to move around a little bit. So, and that's fine. Like we can we'll take that out of create new turn. We'll move it into play turn, and so that's probably next week, right? Next week we're we're going to move. So we need to move this. Let's talk this through. Let's get to our flows, create new turn. All right. Evaluate top card. Yeah, I usually stream Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's really 2 to 5. I used to do more days, but it was a lot. It was a lot of, and I was kind of trying to pick different times of the day, but this works okay in my schedule, and it felt better to do like one longer session. Not that 3 hours is really long, but I used to do 3 2-hour sessions a week. That was too much, for our schedules. So this works pretty good. Okay, so new turn. We get to this step in our new turn. We're evaluating the top card. If the top card was a draw 2 or a draw 4, or a skip, then you basically don't have a turn at that point, because I think these are all marked as, these are all skip, draw 2, and draw 4. Whereas here, we really don't want to do this yet. We don't want to set the next game card. Or I'm sorry, we don't want to set the we don't want him to draw a card yet, right? So our draw count should actually be 0 here, and then we create the new turn. Right, because we'll keep getting cards on this side, but on this side we'll create the new turn, and then we need a mechanism to draw a card. And really, we already know the card, so that'll be kind of interesting, right? Like, what's the top card of the draw pile is something that we'll need to kind of pass in here, and I could see us having like, we'll have a draw, like box here, like as if it were another card, and we can click it, and it will draw that card that we already know, put it in the person's hand, and then they could play that if they wanted to. So that'll be, maybe that's a new, well, I think it's another card. It's another game card that we can hopefully still use our Uno card object for that. Because we could pass it in, honestly, we could pass it in as, well, maybe we pass it in as its own thing, because maybe we don't want it to render right there. Maybe maybe what we could have is at the top of the page, we've got our card that's our top card, and then we could have a draw pile, right? So you could click on the draw pile, you'd get the card. That actually would be another, kind of interesting, like communication to have run. So have that draw card communicate that it was selected, into, pass itself up basically, and move it to your hand. So, that could be kind of interesting. We're basically going to add something to this collection. And in the process of doing that, I wonder how that would, how could that, so that's an interesting question. If I pick the card, I want it to be part of my hand like instantly, but I'm still on this, I'm still here on this step of the flow. Ideally, I'd have it actually like run more steps of the flow, right? Or have it run a subflow or something like that. But I don't think we're going to be able to do that. So we may actually need the, could we do this? it would actually be nice to have it step to, okay, hang on. This could be interesting because I don't want to do any DML logic in the LWC. So I would want that when I pick that card from the draw pile that's not here right now, but imagine, if you will, it's here. I pick that card. I want it to go to the next screen with some kind of outcome. So it's not really button outcome anymore. It would be more like just, screen outcome. And then I could evaluate, I'll add another, condition here. We'd add another condition that was like, drawn, right? So we'll make that the action that gets communicated to our selected action for our footer. I don't know if we can communicate that. I think we're going to need to receive this selected action, and then upon receiving it, pass it, kind of amalgamate it into our own value, because it's either going to be coming from Uno footer if I click a button, or it's going to be coming from the draw pile when I click that button. So then I would I could then run, execute a step that gives me another card in my hand. And then I could come back here, right? Boop, 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 boop. Get player hand game cards. Do. Come back to the screen. And now I've got everything listed there. And I've kept my DML in my flow. I've just used some reactive properties coming out of the LWCs to decide what to do here. I would need some mechanism to say, like, is drawn, right? Because we don't want to let you come back in here and say, oh, yeah, just draw it again. We might even be able to have, let's see, can we do visibility here? Yeah, we can set visibility here. So if I end up with another Uno card here, that's my draw, right? Or my draw pile. It might not even need to be an Uno card, right? It could literally just be, some UI, right? Maybe an image or something that the back of an Uno card or something. Click on that, do flow mojo, come back here, and now because I've requeried, so let's just fake some of this a little bit. Let's just say I'm going to put a step in here, and let's say set outcome value. Let's see, does that make sense? We might need another decision point there. Yeah. Because we're either going to have, well, let's see, if we click that and we send it to the next step, and then we need to evaluate. We can evaluate these in turn. So we could add a step called drawn, right? Let's say, I'm just going to say draw clicked, right? Whatever that is. And let's move this this will be the first thing we evaluate, and I'm just going to do something really dumb here. DT1, whatever, is null true. This is total garbage. But that's there. So now if it's drawn, we're going to insert, right? So to do insert a new step, and then come back up here. right? So requery our hand and then come back into our screen. And then probably set some kind of, is drawn property here in the flow, and then we won't render that component again. So actually, let's do that. We'll say let's assign. All right, so card drawn. So is card drawn. Need to set. Oh wait, we want to assign this, right? Set card drawn. New variable is card drawn. Boolean, set false by default. Okay, we're going to set that to true. Right. And then I'm just going to make something really corny here. I'm just going to put, it's not going to do anything right now, but we'll just say draw, whatever this is, DT4? No, 5? Yep. Draw a card. To do. Well, that was weird. Why is it not? What? Draw. Weird. Okay. Just TBD. Man, this is not reacting to me very well. Let's see. TBD. Sure. Enter. Weird. Okay. There we go. So we will have a. Yeah, there's a little bit going on. I was actually, this is hard. Monopoly was harder. I worked on Monopoly on the show maybe a year or so ago. It was a lot of fun, but there's a lot of rules to. I sort of did it. Let me say MRP 97. I sort of did it. That code is up in my repo as well, but it's probably really outdated. I do want to dust it off sometime. Maybe it'll be what we do after Uno is actually working. I also built rock, paper, scissors, which was easier at the, in the end, but a lot of the same patterns, for rock, paper, scissors as there were for Uno. Rock, paper, scissors is like a game with 2 rounds. One player plays, the other player plays, and then boop, you're done. But I mean, this has been fun. Case in point, just discovered that basically the game engine logic is like backwards. Uno is much easier. Yeah. It's still hard. It's still hard kind of figuring out the flow of how to like cycle through the different conditions, but definitely proving much easier than Monopoly did. But I would like to pick Monopoly back up at some point. All right, so this is bogus right now, but if we pretend that this is something that we can click. Oh yeah, this are you talking about this flow screen that's up here? Yeah, that's so this is Salesforce Flow, which is like their like their low code workflow builder, which is pretty slick. And you can have this also interact with these components that I've been building that are these are basically web components. Kind of if you've done React, you probably know how to build these once you get the kind of some of the syntax down. But yeah, Flow's pretty cool, man. It's they've been evolving this a lot year after year, and you can do quite a bit with it. And even you weren't always able to like pull like components in like this for UI stuff, but it's pretty powerful. So yep, all Salesforce all the time. No, we're not integrating. Sorry, we're not integrating Salesforce and React, but Salesforce has they have a front end, UI component development framework called Lightning Web Components. This is the this is the sorry, this is the JavaScript driving one of them, and it has a very Reacty flavor to it. And I don't pretend to know that much about React aside from like piddling with it a little bit and seeing some stuff on online, but it does share a lot of, or at least some of the, some of the paradigms. Salesforce has done their thing to make it their own. So certain things might not be completely aligned with React, but I like to think that if a developer has done some development with React, then you could probably jump into Lightning Web Components fairly easily, pick it up. So yeah, between the flow to sort of orchestrate orchestrate business logic and even start orchestrating front end, the LWCs, which are these components here that are custom when the standard flow stuff doesn't work or just doesn't provide a great user experience. And then there's also Apex, which is kind of the back end programming language. I haven't had to write a lot of it because Flow and the Lightning Web Components handle a lot of it on their own. But you can dip in and write sort of like more. Whoops, these are all pretty small. There's not a lot of code in each of these, but these are actually code that can then be called from the flow, so that they can run more process intensive logic. Whereas sometimes when you build with flow, you end up like sort of in like boxes and arrows hell, I'll call it. If you got to like loop through a bunch of data or store a bunch of variables, it just gets really tedious. You want to kind of like stick to the mainline business logic, and then you can dip into these things called invocables. That's Apex code that can basically just run processes a little bit more efficiently. Not even from a performance perspective. Like Flow runs pretty efficiently on its own, but Apex just can kind of organize and create mapping relationships and do other basically do other programmatic stuff that you can't do in Flow. And yeah, between those three, we're building Uno, so we're slowly getting there. So let's see. What we were doing over here was saying draw a card, but only show this if where are you? Is card drawn? Yep, is card drawn equals false. There we go. All right. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So that will only display, I think, did that save? Yep. Okay, so cool. So we're actually, now we're getting into like controlling some UI from, multiple conditions within the flow. And hopefully if we click on that, we go down the drawn path. So this is actually, drawn is a misnomer here. So remember that whole... I don't know if you remember, I had this whole conversation with myself last week. Why do we need next as the status? We don't need next. I got rid of it. And now I absolutely need next because the logic has been assuming that, you just draw when you start your turn. Like, I'm a dummy. Like, how would a Uno game ever end if every player had to draw at the start of their turn? Like, if they were forced to, you would never play. You'd never get to Uno. It would be called Dos, I guess, because you'd always have one card in your hand, and maybe even more than that. So anyway, we're gonna change that. I'm gonna put that on that's kind of a to do for us. Right. So turn object. We need next status back. That we do. So we need to bring that back. We can do some more work with this. I think I'd like to. I'm kind of on the fence. On one hand, I don't want it to look like this, right? We need something that goes here that is clickable And I don't think we can just display an image and then put a, oops. Yeah, so we can't handle a click from here. And we are not showing our page's footer, right? So, oh wait, we turned that off, right? Configure footer. Yeah, we're not even showing our footer. This isn't something we could turn on and off either. Like, we could get really clever and say, hey, if you haven't picked a card here, show the standard navigation. I don't want to do that. So I don't have a way to handle a click on this display image. So maybe what we want, this could be an interesting use case for, like, could you generically write a, I'll call it like clickable image, right? And have that report back some value, right? Like if you click it, it just says, yo, I've been clicked. And make that an output variable. And if that's what you get, then it listens for that change. And maybe what happens is anytime you have maybe it's maybe it's more like a click and next, right? We could create a generic click and next image. So whatever it does, you click it and it reports that it was clicked, some value, and then it goes to the next step, right? That's it. And then from there you can evaluate, like we are doing here, right? We need some outcome decision on what to do with that click. So that could be something that I might experiment with that. I'm actually kind of curious, like, how would that work? What if you had multiple of those? You need them to report back some value, right? What would you do if you had 4 of them on the screen and then came back to the screen? They kind of need to would they reset so that you could capture a different click event on each of them? So that might be a nighttime thing. You can't do that on Salesforce late night edition. But for now, like, I feel pretty good, even though I completely forgot about the rules of Uno for the last 6 weeks or something like that. We do have, we have a lot. Okay, we have a dog that wants to come in for like the last minute of the show. Come on in, pup. There we go. All right. We have a UI that lets a person take a turn, almost completely lets them take a turn. We have a UI that knows what are valid turns or cards to play in that turn and are not valid. And we're also telling our, it's not working right now, but because it's not working because we don't have a scenario where we have no cards to play or that we can play. So we're telling our navigation whether we can play or not, but it's not responding in any way. So I think that's like it for today. And here come the cops, I guess, to get me. So I think we're going to wrap it. Video post, and we'll do a clip with something else later tonight. But appreciate folks hanging out. Had some good conversation in the chat, and I will wrap this up, I guess. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Tom, and you can't do that on Salesforce, or can you? See ya. Thanks, everyone.